That's really nice. The historical evolution starts with, for example, I'm going to talk about Microsoft. I have, for instance, DOS. So I come here to write for him DOS, DOS. This was an operating system that I had. I want to discuss in detail about this situation. So I just go and type in Google like this, a little bit more about it. DOS is short for Disk OS. This was produced by Microsoft in 1981. I copy the content to share with students. I place it on the left. The year 1981 is added. I paste the text related to the year with enlargement for clarity. I might test them on historical evolution, so show the time period clearly. And I keep it on the left for aesthetics. This is information about DOS. The year is missing, so I put 1981. This was launched in 1981, and they started working on this operating system. Now we can paste the text year related with some enlargement for student clarity. I inform them about DOS. After that, there was another Windows version, which could be Windows 95. Reviewing OS history educates me too. So here we can paste the text directly related to the year and place it next to one here with some enlargement to give the students complete information. Because I might ask them in the test, like I asked them about the historical evolution. So you want to show them the time period that they might understand. And then I provide them with information related to DOS. After that, there was, for example, another Windows version, which could be Windows 95. Even if I look at the historical development of operating systems, I'm also providing something educational for myself. So I'm taking it slow, you know. He's talking about the operating system and its evolution. So I give him information related to DOS, and then there was, for example, another Windows version, which could be Windows 95. Even if I look at the historical development of operating systems, I'm also providing something educational for myself. So I'm taking it slow, you know. He's talking about the operating system and its evolution. And its evolution, this information is completely unnecessary for the student right now. So I'm looking at what I need and what I don't need. He's talking here about the evolution of operating systems. As a professor, I gather info. He mentions Microsoft, noting Windows 3.11 followed DOS. I acknowledged. Then he mentioned Windows 95. I see Windows 11 as a DOS app, not an OS, since DOS was primary. I told him about Windows. Then he talks to me about Windows 95. I mean, after DOS, I consider Windows 11 not as an operating system, but as an application under DOS. We used to think of it that way because DOS was the main operating system. So I tell him about Windows 95. I have here another operating system that I can talk about and search for information on Google. So you have Windows 95, and you can also include it in the historical evolution here. Write down Windows 95, remove any underlining if there is any, and set the font size to, let's say, 30. So this is Windows 95, and the text for Windows 95 is right here. It tells you that this is considered an operating system. Complete or just a couple of words. And it was available in 1995. It's very simple. So I come here and put my writing that I want to give to the student. And I copy that year, and I take the new year. I tell him the year, 1995. See how I design. I'm creating a case in front of you for something in my curriculum. The student can read, of course. You can write in Arabic, write in English, or mix between the two depending on the nature of the curriculum. There are courses in Arabic and courses in English. I might ask about something I'm searching for and say, no, I want it in Arabic. So then we should talk about Windows 98 based on the written content here. Let's focus on what I want to tell my student. For example, I have Windows 98. And this and I come to take the same approach we used for Windows 95 and place it here and they mentioned Windows 98. Here in underline, I'm mentioning the underline. Just keep in mind that there's a link here. If this turns into a PDF, it would be linked to Wikipedia, which is not desired. So ideally, I should be able to manage that link without any issues. I have no problem with that. So 90 remains Windows 98 DOS, so I deal with it from this perspective. That is, I do it like a timeline. In the historical development of computer operation, well, after Windows 98, you still have XP and 2000. So I can bring him Windows XP and Windows 2000, considering that they are actually operating systems. So I tell him, this is Windows XP. Of course, he can bring you the link. You already know how to remove the link. So is there a link here? No. Here there's no link. Here there's no link. If there's a link, I can click on it, but there's nothing with a link. Now what I'm going to bring up is how to remove that link. I just click on the pencil icon to edit the link and say delete, and that's it. This is Windows XP, and I can get the paragraph I want about my new Windows. So when I chose Windows XP, which was available in 2001, that's different from Windows 2000. I'm saying this is XP, and this is the information I want the student to read about, and this is our history. Of course, Windows 2000 was mostly not used by regular users because it was more network oriented. So in 2001, people preferred to stick with Windows. For students, in the context of Windows 2000 for networks, Windows 98 was commonly used by individuals until 2001 when Windows XP came out. Of course, Windows 2000 was mostly not used by individual users because it was more network oriented. So in 2001, people preferred to stick with Windows. For students, in the context of Windows 2000 for networks, Windows 98 was commonly used by individuals until 2001 when Windows XP came out. When Windows XP came out, it was a significant change. So Windows 2000 was mainly for networks and individuals didn't really use it. It was built on Windows NT, so its functionality was different. I mean, I used it too, but of course I didn't utilize it properly. When did Windows come out? Okay, indeed. Very nice, absolutely. Very nice. Windows 2000 is primarily for the network. In general, people did not use it. In essence, Windows NT is a different thing. I mean, personally, I used it too. But of course, I certainly did not use it properly. But XB was the one that was dedicated to individuals. So you can also work from this perspective. Well, it's very nice in the operating system. Windows 7 was also released after XB. Windows 7 was released, and of course there are other Windowses that exist, meaning Windows. Here you'll find the icons for Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, and Windows 11, and we're doing updates. I have Windows 10 here in my historical timeline. I'm not sure where I left off with Windows 7. I can take the word Windows and continue in the roadmap here. I can remove XP and replace it with 7. Check the year. It was 2009. I can take the data related to it, considering it was available in 2009 in my design. There's a lot of information I can simplify in the alignment. I'm working on that now. There's a lot of information I can use, but I don't want to clutter the design. I can move this window section up and also raise this text so that it looks better. This is from 2009. I'm going to remove XP and replace it with 7. Verify the year, 2009. I can simplify a lot of information in alignment. I can use a lot of information without cluttering the design. I can move the window section and raise the text for better appearance. I adjusted it to improve the design. It's from 2009. I'm using available elements for a good layout. People used XP for a while, then moved to the next Windows version. We mentioned Windows Vista was released then, but the main one is Windows 7. No need to discuss XP. It's all about 7 now. And here we have 98. I mean, this is a lot of talk that can be exploited. I don't want to exploit the font or do anything. I can bring up this Windows above and bring up this writing above as well, so that the talk doesn't become unnecessary. I brought this up a little so that the design would be good. This is in 2009, as we said, and I am dealing with the elements that I have. I feel that I am doing a good design. So people were able to use XP for a while, and then they moved on to the next Windows version. Here, we mentioned that there was a Windows called Windows Vista, released during that time, but the main one is Windows 7. We don't need to talk about XP anymore, it's all about 7 now, and here we have 98. Of course, there's also Windows 2000, I know, but that's NT. So right now, I'm talking about the operating systems that you can use. I know about Windows 2000, but it's NT. So right now, I'm more specifically talking about the various operating systems that you can currently use.